Did you know that the average BMX frame is engineered to withstand over 2,000 pounds of force? Yet, most adults end up snapping their confidence because they bought a bike designed for a 10-year-old. It's a bold statement, but if you're over 5 feet 5 inches and trying to squeeze onto a tiny department store frame, you're doing it wrong. Today, we are breaking down the absolute best BMX bikes for adults so you can stop looking like a giant on a tricycle and start riding like a pro. Whether you're hitting the local pump track or just want a bulletproof cruiser for the neighborhood, I've got the perfect match for your height and style. All the links are in the description below, so make sure to check those out for the latest pricing. Before we dive into the heavy hitters, what's your biggest struggle with finding a bike as an adult? Is it the weight, the height, or just the fear of your knees hitting the handlebars? Let me know in the comments. 7. Cubsala Trident 20/24/26 inch. The Cubsala Trident is essentially the Swiss Army knife of the BMX world, specifically because it refuses to lock you into that tiny 20-inch wheel standard that scares away most beginners. If you're a taller rider or someone who wants a big BMX feel, the 24 or 26-inch options are game changers, offering a much more stable platform that doesn't feel twitchy at high speeds. Built with a robust high-10 carbon steel frame, this thing is a tank. It's designed to survive the learning curve of track racing and street freestyle without breaking the bank. Now, when we compare this to something like the Mongoose Title, you'll notice a huge difference in philosophy. The Mongoose is a featherweight racer that lives for the track, but the Trident is more lifestyle-friendly. It's a bit heavier at 16.5 kilograms, which means you'll have to work a little harder to get it airborne, but in return, you get a sturdier build and 2 steel pegs included for grinds that the Mongoose just isn't built for. It's got a responsive rear V-brake and a massive 36T sprocket that gives you some serious get-up-and-go power. It's about 85% assembled out of the box, meaning you're about 20 minutes away from riding once the mailman drops it off. I love the memory foam seat and those dragonfly gold finishes. They look way more expensive than the roughly $300 price tag suggests. It's the perfect hybrid for the guy who wants to hit the groomed dirt tracks on Saturday and cruise the beach on Sunday. However, if you're an elite racer looking to shave milliseconds off your lap time, that steel frame might eventually feel like an anchor compared to high-end aluminum. But for most of us, it's pure value. What do you think? Would you go with the 24-inch for comfort or stick to the classic 20-inch for tricks? 6. Eastern Bikes Cobra. If you're looking for a bike that feels like a professional setup without the $800 price tag, the Eastern Bikes Cobra is a serious contender that bridges the gap between beginner and pro beautifully. What makes this bike a standout in this list is the inclusion of fully sealed front and rear hubs. For those who don't know, sealed bearings are the holy grail of BMX. They keep the dirt out, roll significantly smoother, and require almost zero maintenance compared to the loose ball systems you find on cheaper bikes. The Cobra uses a high-tensile steel frame but intelligently swaps in a chromoly steerer tube on the fork. That's a huge deal because it puts the strength exactly where the bike takes the most abuse. Comparing this to a competitor like the Mongoose Legion L20 is like comparing a sports car to a sedan. While the L20 often relies on one-piece cranks that are prone to bending, the Cobra comes standard with 3-piece tubular chromoly cranks and aftermarket riblet grips that feel amazing on the hands. At 26.9 pounds, it's remarkably nimble, making it much easier for adults to initiate spins or manuals without feeling like they're fighting the bike. The only real retro part is the American loose ball bottom bracket, which is a bit heavier than a modern mid-sealed version, but for the $350 to $380 range, the performance is undeniable. It looks and feels like a pro team bike because it was designed by riders who actually shred. If you're ready to commit to the sport and want a set-it-and-forget-it freestyle machine, the Cobra is your best friend. Do you value sealed bearings enough to pay a little extra, or are you okay with doing your own maintenance? 5. Mongoose Legion L100. Now we are moving into the no excuses territory with the Mongoose Legion L100. This is arguably the best bang for your buck bike on the entire market for advanced adult riders. While most entry-level bikes use heavy steel, the L100 is built with a full 4130 chromoly frame, fork, and handlebars. This is the gold standard of materials. It's lighter, stronger, and has a specific flex that absorbs impacts better than anything else. If you are over 5 feet 8 inches, you are going to love the 21-inch top tube. It gives you the room to move without feeling cramped. Performance-wise, this bike is a beast. It features 2-piece hollow spindle cranks and a mid-sealed bottom bracket, which is light years ahead of the one-piece designs we've seen so far. When you put the L100 up against something like the Cult Gateway, the Mongoose often wins on paper. While Cult has the cool factor, the L100 gives you a full chromoly build and double-wall Exposure Infinity XD rims at a lower price point. Those double-wall rims are vital for adults because we weigh more and land harder. Single-wall rims will buckle, but these will stay true. The massive 2.4-inch tires provide incredible grip, and the integrated headset means everything stays tight and smooth. My only gripe? The front hub is sometimes unsealed, which is a weird choice for a bike this good, and you might want to swap the chain eventually. But honestly, if you want a forever frame that can handle 10-foot drops and technical street lines, the L100 is the undisputed king of the series. Is a full chromoly frame a deal breaker for you, or do you think steel is good enough? 4. Hiland 24/26-inch BMX. The Hiland 24/26-inch BMX is the ultimate neighborhood shredder for the adult who wants the BMX aesthetic without the back-breaking geometry of a small stunt bike. Think of this as the perfect cruiser-style freestyle bike. It's specifically designed for taller teens and adults who find 20-inch frames restrictive or uncomfortable for longer rides. The high-carbon steel frame is built to be robust and stable, offering a predictable ride that's great for urban commuting or light park sessions. Because of the larger wheel diameters, this bike carries its momentum much better than a traditional BMX, making it a dream for riding to the store or following the kids around the park. When you compare it to a hybrid like the Mongoose Rebel X26, the Hiland stays much truer to the classic BMX look with its geometry and multiple vibrant colorways, including a really cool rainbow finish that definitely turns heads. It comes with 140mm cranks, a 36T chainring, and even a pair of front steel pegs if you want to try your hand at some basic grinds. At 31 pounds, it's not a bike you're going to be doing triple tail whips on, but that's not really what it's for. It's for the rider who wants a durable, stylish bike that can handle a curb jump or a manual without feeling like they're on a toy. It's incredibly affordable at around $220 to $250 and arrives 85% pre-assembled. If you're a casual rider who just wants to cruise in style, this is a fantastic recommendation. Would you prefer a 24-inch or a 26-inch wheel for just cruising around town? 3. Cubsala Yaphet 20-inch. The Cubsala Yaphet is where entry-level price meets modern freestyle geometry. This is a brilliant 20-inch bike for adults up to 6 feet 1 inch because it features a 20.5-inch top tube that strikes a nice balance between agility and stability. What really sets the Yaphet apart is the drivetrain. It uses a modern 25T chainring and a 9T semi-sealed cassette rear hub. Usually, bikes at this price point, under $250, use old-school bulky sprockets, but this setup gives you much better ground clearance for tricks. If you compare the Yaphet to the Mongoose Legion L20, the Yaphet actually feels more stunt-ready out of the box because it often includes 4 steel pegs and a 360-degree gyro system. The gyro is a massive win for beginners because it allows you to spin the handlebars as many times as you want without tangling your brake cables. It also comes with extra-wide 2.4-inch tires that act like a cushion for your wrists on hard landings. Now, it does use a one-piece forged crank, which is its main weakness compared to the 3-piece cranks on the L20. If you're a heavier rider doing massive jumps, you might eventually bend that crank, but for neighborhood shredding and learning the basics, it's plenty strong. The memory foam seat and aluminum U-brakes are nice premium touches that make it feel like a real tool rather than a toy. It's a solid, low-maintenance recommendation for anyone who wants that pro look without the pro investment. Are you interested in learning bar spins, or do you prefer to keep your wheels on the ground? 2. WEIZE Freestyle BMX. The WEIZE 20-inch is the ultimate starter kit for someone who wants to jump straight into the world of tricks. If your goal is to learn grinds and bar spins from day one, this bike is built for you. It comes fully loaded with a 360-degree rotor detangler and a full set of 4 steel pegs right in the box. On most budget bikes, you'd have to spend another $50 to $100 just to add those features, but WEIZE includes them all. The high-tensile steel frame is built to take a beating, which is exactly what you want when you're inevitably dropping the bike while learning. Comparing this to the Mongoose Legion L20 is a classic trade-off. The L20 gives you a slightly better 3-piece crank, but the WEIZE gives you the gyro and 4 pegs. If you're more interested in the technical side of BMX, like grinds and spins, the WEIZE offers much better immediate value. It rides on massive 20 by 2.4-inch tires that provide a ton of grip and shock absorption, which is a lifesaver for adult knees. The 32T chainring and 16T freewheel make it easy to pedal, though, like the Yaphet, it uses a one-piece crank that may need upgrading if you become a hardcore rider. For under $200, the value here is insane, and the 85% assembly means you'll be out riding in no time. It's best suited for riders between 4 feet 0 inches and 5 feet 8 inches, so if you're a taller adult, you might want to look at the 21-inch top tube on the Mongoose L100 instead. Does the idea of a 360-degree rotor excite you, or do you think it's just another part to maintain? 1. Cubsala Echo 20/24-inch. Coming in at number 1 for pure accessibility and versatility is the Cubsala Echo. This bike is a standout because it offers both 20 and 24-inch wheel sizes, making it one of the few beginner-friendly options for adults who want a big bike that still feels like a true BMX. The Echo is built around a heavy-duty, high-10 steel frame that feels incredibly grounded and stable. It comes stock with 4 steel pegs and a responsive rear U-brake, giving you everything you need to start practicing stalls and grinds immediately. When you compare it to a competitor like the Hiland 20-inch, the Echo usually wins on style and the inclusion of those extra pegs. It's surprisingly lightweight for a steel bike at around 25 pounds for the 20-inch, making it manageable for smaller adults or teens to maneuver. The 2.35-inch wide tires provide a massive contact patch, which is great for balance when you're just starting out. Like many in this price bracket, it uses a one-piece crank and unsealed bearings, so it will require a bit of grease and love over time, but the build quality for a sub-$200 bike is genuinely impressive. It's the perfect gateway bike. It's affordable enough that you won't feel guilty if it sits in the garage for a week, but capable enough to take you all the way from the driveway to the skate park. If you're a parent looking for a bike to ride with your kids or an adult looking to reclaim your youth, the Echo is a fantastic choice. Which do you think is more important, a lower price point or higher-end components like a 3-piece crank? And there you have it, the top BMX bikes for adults that will actually hold up to your weight and height. Whether you're going for the full chromoly beast that is the Mongoose L100 or the versatile cruiser vibes of the Hiland 26-inch, there is something here for every style of rider. Remember, the best bike is the one that actually gets you outside and riding, so don't get too hung up on the specs if you're just starting out. All the links to these bikes are in the description below, so go ahead and grab yours before the season kicks off. If this video helped you figure out which size or brand you need, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the best gear on the market. Let me know in the comments which one of these caught your eye. Are you team 20-inch or team 26-inch? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.